start off. Who are you and what are you doing here?
My name is Esko Reinikainen. I come from an organization called the Satori Lab. We're culture hackers, and we've been working in innovation in the public sector for a couple of years. So we know the gang behind Science City York and the Genius Project, and thought we could maybe contribute something to this process.
Fantastic, and obviously we're addressing the Right to Solve initiative over the last couple of days, the kind of parent-child relationship dynamic between council and residents. What's your understanding of that, and what does it mean to you at this point? Obviously you've had a chance to chat to some people and see some ideas, so what does that Right to Solve initiative mean to you?
Yeah, so if you look at the national picture and the public finance climate, the way that the relationship has happened between local authorities and citizenries it's kind of evolved into a dependency relationship, and there aren't any more the finances available to sustain that kind of profile, if you want. So there's kind of a financial impetus to reframe it, but also we have better models for public service delivery that are being developed, not necessarily in the public service, but in order to take advantage of them, you can't do so from a basis of a kind of a parent-child relationship. Now the interesting thing is that there's an expectation that citizens will play a greater role in the design and the delivery and the ownership of solutions to public challenges. But you can't assume that that's just going to happen, because there's this deficit in trust that needs to be trust needs to be re-established in rebalancing the relationship. So in terms of dynamics between bureaucracies and the citizens that they serve, there's a lot of rebalancing to be done, and this is a kind of very interesting project that seeks to address part of it.
Yeah. I mean, you've obviously been able to see some ideas that have come across. Has there been anything that's kind of jumped out at you? Anything that perhaps people have come up with that you feel like is valuable? Obviously, they're all valuable contributions in different ways, but anything that really stands out to you in terms of ideas on how to address this balance?
Yeah, it's. I don't know if it's a specific idea, but there's a trend emerging. So. While this is a developmental process and the ideas are evolving as the groups kind of apply different tools and models on them, where you started with actually quite traditional sort of solutions, like we need a website or we need a new communication channel or something. There's a trend emerging in the different conversations around the different proposals about understanding a little bit better the interfaces between citizens and traditional public authorities, and the needs to rehumanize those. So for example, I think York has actually done quite well in that, but not long ago the typical interface for a citizen to a public service might be a desk between them and their problem and a bureaucrat who is a gatekeeper who says yes or no, kind of thing, which is quite intimidating. You can apply the same kind of thinking to digital interfaces, right? So government websites which are so bad that you choose not to use them because you're used to using things like Amazon and Facebook that just work, and you don't need a training manual. So how, in the redesign of those interfaces, how do you introduce the elements of humanity, the rehumanizing of those? That's a trend that's coming in all of the